Schrader. People's got to realize that for 4 years the tax hasn't increased at all. It's because of the reserve fund was kicked in every year. And 2 years ago I said if they didn't kick in the reserve fund, the tax rate would go up 35%. In the tax, there a couple of years later, the reserve fund was kicked in every year for 4 years. And as far as Roy, I've been coming to these meetings for 50 years. I came when Roy was a supervisor. I don't see any difference in the way it's run today than it was when he was a supervisor. Thanks.
I just want to comment that Mr. Millett was correct when he said that people need to talk into the microphone. We see at every single meeting where somebody makes a remark and they're over here, and then somebody usually says, would you please talk into the mic, and half of it's lost. So I really hope that since the 5 of you are up there and you can see everyone, you will try to be a little bit more diligent. The other, and I just have to say, the 3rd meeting in a row, I do agree with Jim on an issue. This is getting scary.
I just wanted to comment on the microphones, Deborah. You know, they're fixed, so you know we can't move them closer to us. You know.
I know.
And I'm tall, but I'm short-waisted. You know, so.
But we hear Jim all the time. Beautifully. Yeah. Lynn, we hear Lynn.
I can't avoid your microphones.
Anyway. I think we all have to make a little bigger effort, a little more effort.
Well, I would like to get those portable microphones instead of these that are fixed to the.
We have a budget restriction.
Yeah, that was yeah.
Okay.
We can unscrew these and move them about
I'd like
3
to do
inches
that, but
forward.
we can't. So.
There you go. My husband has a automatic screwdriver thing on the bar. My other question, this is really on a more serious note, I think, is Ms. Lunt's statement mentioned that the board voted to end the shared service agreement, and I heard mention of that at the workshop yesterday. Can you please tell me on what date the board voted to end the shared services agreement so that I can look it up in the minutes? I looked it up for July and August, and I could not find where the board voted to end the shared service agreement. I do have a copy of a letter that was sent to the Town of Salina supervisor that states that the board is going to, or the town is ending the shared service agreement. Thank you very much and have a pleasant week.
Let me answer your question. The board voted to pursue hiring a full-time assessor, and that was what was approved at the board meeting. To end the shared services with the town of Salina, it was done with a letter that was produced by our town attorney, and it was sent to the town of Salina. And I believe that letter, you have the date on it. That is where that came from. The town did not, as a board, we only voted to pursue hiring a full-time assessor.
Okay.
And it was a 3-2 vote.
Yes, it was.
For clarifying.
Didn't agree with you that time, Jim.
Public input still going on.
Well, I have to speak into this better.
Better talk into the microphone, Mr. Willis, please.
What? I'm here to give you a break on the budget talks. I was twice invited to return with my plea on some townspeople concerns. And I had some other people, it's been tough getting here with all of them, but for business reasons and whatever, they couldn't show up, so I'll just go on by myself. I feel a majority of us town residents and others who travel through our town are still frustratingly being punished for the misdeeds of a few, which continue to be the habit of our government these days. I sympathize with those angry, but I feel misguided relatively few citizens with their concerns about the relatively few narcissistic drivers that speed by our properties. the results of which the previous town board made again, I feel, politically knee-jerk decisions by reducing certain thoroughfares, not neighborhood speed limits, lower than they should be, for efficient but still safe commuting within the township. I was told that since my last request, some emails have come in requesting leaving the speed limits as they are. Of course, those would probably be from the relatively few frustrated but misguided mentioned above. But there are about 15,000 taxpayers. During the last regime's meeting on the subject, one counselor, Mr. Rybeck, who I've been told came from a police background, said you can lower the speed limits to 15 miles an hour, but it won't stop that percentage and will always abuse. And as a side note, I think Chief Schnell has, I believe, quoted past statistics that agree with this. I had a conversation with a supervisor who said some recent police studies have again been taken. For example, if I remember correctly, East Mud Mill Road speed limit currently set at a ridiculous 35 miles an hour down from 55. Approximately 18% of motorists were driving 60 miles an hour. If you raise the speed limit to 45 miles an hour, where I and others feel it should be, those 18% will probably still drive 60 miles an hour. So in conclusion, all that has been accomplished is curtailing the law-abiding majority of drivers from efficient daily commute. I also feel the speed limit should not be set for the convenience of the courts or the police, but instead for the majority of town residents who are paying for the town to be an efficient and convenient place to live. This atrocity all started with the last regimes presenting the innocent-sounding referendum on the ballot for changing to a suburban township. That, I think, was a mistake for the town residents. It gives too much power to any politically reacting town board. So again, I submit the following suggested speed limit restorations that I don't think most people would construe as excessive. I'll give you a copy of this and I'll read them. Bartell Road from the 81 Bridge to Ladd Road, 45 miles an hour, up from 40. Ladd Road to Bartell Road, Ladd Road, Bartell Road to East Mud Mill Road, 50 miles an hour. East Mud Mill Road, Route 11 to McKinley Road, not Sneller, 45 miles an hour. Lakeshore Road past the elementary school to Maple Drive, 40 miles an hour. Whiting Road from the power line to Route 31, 45 miles an hour. South Bay Road, Lakeshore Road to the 81 Bridge in North Syracuse, 50 miles an hour. Of course, there's a school zone in there. Route 31, east into Bridgeport, move the 30 mile an hour east into to the Hyatt Drive place. Thompson Road Northern Boulevard corner to Taft Road, 40 miles an hour. Thank you. I'll give you a copy of this.
Can we put those in the minutes, please?
We will. Let's do.